know yet how many people have tuned in?
We've only got 9 attendees.
Okay. When you're ready, I'm ready.
Let me share your calendar. I think so.
Okay. Give me the thumbs up and we'll get started.
Mr. Chairman, if you are ready, we are ready.
Good evening. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss SPLOST 8, which is a 1% sales tax for Chatham County. SPLOST funding funds capital project improvement in roads, drainage, recreation, economic development, and civic projects. Tonight, we have opened it up for those of you who may have missed your community meeting or your district meeting. I can say tonight that all commissioners have had district meetings in all 8 districts, and I've had the opportunity to be at every one of them. But in case you miss any of those but would like to bring about questions about projects that are in your particular area, all right, or in your community or in your neighborhood, we will give you that opportunity tonight. Let me say I am joined now by Commissioner Milton from the 5th District and Commissioner Whiteley from the 6th District. Do I have any others? All right, Commissioner Milton or Commissioner, let me go, Commissioner Milton, would you like to make some comments before we get started?
I just want to thank everybody for coming on, and I want you to express yourself on what the concerns are that you have in your neighborhood. Hopefully that we can get the funding with the SPLOST to make sure that some of those projects take place.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank you and staff for making this this accessible opportunity for folks to join and voice their opinion for those who were not able to join their actual district meetings. And I just want to urge everyone, if you don't see some of your neighbors who had some thoughts about SPLOST, share the link with them so they could jump on now because we really want to hear from you. And this is a great opportunity to do that and say what you got to say. So thanks for joining us, and look forward to hearing the comments from those who have joined us.
All right. Tonight's meeting will run exactly 1 hour. We will end at 7 p.m. Voters will have a choice as to whether to continue the SPLOST in November of this year, and we will move with those questions and things. Now, let me say one of the things that I gather from the majority of the SPLOST meetings that I have attended in the district is that the majority of you want to talk about drainage and recreation, all right? The road improvement projects that we have that we will be putting in place. And what we want to do tonight, though, is that we want to hear from you more so than us. If you would raise your hand, use the raise hand feature that you will find on the Zoom, and we will bring your questions in the order in which they appear, all right? And so in the interest of time, if you will, try to keep your comments down to at least 3 minutes with making sure that we have a question. But what I would like for you to do is identify yourself, all right, and what neighborhood you live in or what area or district you live in, so that we can narrow down as to exactly what you're talking about. Let me also thank the manager and his staff for being here with us, all right, as we go through this Zoom. With that, let me open up now for any questions that anyone would have. I see a raised hand already. So now will the staff bring that in?
We're going to go to Joe Hickson first.
All right, Mr. Hickson, you're on. Oh, Miss Hickson, I see the picture now. You're on. She needs to unmute herself. Joe Hickman, if you will unmute yourself, and it's your time.
All right, hello, can you hear me?
Got you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
All
being here.
right, hi. My name is Jo Claire Hickson. I live in Ardsley Park in District 1. I'm also a member of Justice Unite Savannah Together, which is called JUST for short. It's an interfaith organization representing 24 congregations of various faiths and thousands of members across Chatham County. We are here because, or I am here because housing crisis facing our region is not just a city problem, it's countywide. And it's a challenge that requires countywide solution. The county currently is estimated to be 30,000 housing units short of what's needed to meet the demands of our existing population. And as our population grows, that number will spiral. Today, more than 21,000 households in our county are cost burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of the income of their income on housing. That's what a bank would require as a down payment. Would require that you be able to meet 30%. If you go more than that, then you are cost burdened. And that is not sustainable. Given that tourism accounts for approximately 40% of our SPLOST funding, it's only right that we use a portion of those funds to address the needs of very people who make our tourism economy thrive. The essential workers who run our wait on you in restaurants, fold the sheets for your motel room, and work at the convention center. All of these people need to be housed in our community. These are our essential workers, and also our elderly and our local workforce need to be housed locally. The success of tourism industry has in large part priced out the people who drive it, and that makes SPLOST a logical and just place to invest in workforce housing. We would want our teachers and firefighters, healthcare workers, and seniors also to be able to work in the neighborhoods where they live, or live in the neighborhoods where they work, actually. We want so I urge you to designate a line item in the SPLOST referendum for the acquisition of property to be used for attainable housing development. This development should accommodate at least 200 households and be built through a public-private partnership. Thank you so much for the opportunity to comment.
And let me say, Ms. Hickman, that just on yesterday, we met with members of the business and private community to talk about housing that could be obtained for our workers, because all of the research that we have and all of the folks from the real estate are saying workforce housing start at $60,000 a year, which is leaving out our police department, leaving out our teachers and others. And so we're committed to not only working with all the municipalities, but working with the business community as well, and that's on both the local, the state, and the federal level. And so just on yesterday, we had a meeting with some business leaders who will join the county and the municipalities in what we're doing. To let you know now, the county has launched into a program with Port Wentworth and Habitat for Humanities, where we bought 18 acres of land, and on that 18 acres of land, 11 acres of that will be used for obtainable housing or income-based housing, based upon being able to get tax credits and other things from the state and from the federal. So housing is a big issue for SPLOST coming up, and we have allocated some monies in the SPLOST that we will use for that. Okay, but now to say that it will be in a certain area, we can't say that right now, but we are trying to obtain the lands and also the incentives so that we can get the private sector into covering the houses. Thank you for your question. Next on the list.
Remember, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature. We're going to go to Audrey Bronner next. She has posted something in the chat. Audrey?
Good evening. Thank you so much for hosting tonight. I just wanted to say that I'm also a member of JUST and wanted to support Joe Claire Hickson's comments. Thank you so much for saying that some income-based housing will be part of the SPLOST vote. I think that would be a really great use of that funding. Thank you so much.
All right. Did you have a question, or you just wanted to make those comments?
Thank you. Just wanted to support. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Let's just move on to the next. Do we have another? All right. Let me say to, okay, go ahead.
All right, we're going to Austin Kennedy next. Austin, go ahead.
Austin Kennedy, okay?
Yeah, good evening. And
evening.
first, thanks very much for making this available. It's accessible and good use of technology. It's great governance. So thank you. And I guess as far as use of SPLOST, I'd make two requests. And if you can comment on either, that'd be great. But
Okay.
two requests would be, if possible, offset that fire fee that is probably not an example of good government, but it makes everybody mad. And I don't know how much revenue if you could offset that, that would be, I think, widely approved of. And second is quality of life items, specifically bike trails that are off the roads, like the Lake Mayor Trail that does a great job, but also bike lanes on the road. But those were the two. Thanks again.
All right, let me say this now. First of all, let me say that there does not exist, as we speak today, there does not exist a fire fee. All right, the fire tax, which will be for the unincorporated areas. We cannot use SPLOST monies for operation, but we can use it for capital improvement, such as those fire stations that we need to build and that equipment like the fire trucks and things. We can use the monies for that, and they are a part of the SPLOST. We will use those dollars, but there's still a need now, because we provide the service, for us to have a tax in the unincorporated areas of Chatham County to cover the fire service that we get. And so that will be in the form of a tax. That has not come out to you yet. Let me say to anyone who has a fire bill in your possession, all right, if you will, get in touch with the manager's office here at the county, so that we can clear up any misgivings about the fire service. But the fire fee does not exist since July of last year, when we took the fire department under control of the county. It is a department of the county which we provide the service for, and so we will be working with that. Also, let me say to you now, there is in the SPLOST for the trails and for the bike trails and the walking trails throughout the county. The county is working with the municipalities as well as private stakeholders to create bike trails and walking trails throughout the whole county. And so you may hear that it's being done in Bloomingdale or Tybee, or it's being done in Thunderbolt or Vernonburg and the others. But yes, those are a part of what we are doing for SPLOST. And right now, what we're trying to do is cover those areas that we may not know all of the details, so that we can send our team out and they can evaluate and investigate the things that you put on our radar, so that when we do come back, and there will be a virtual town hall meeting as well as an in-person town hall meeting of all the projects from all the municipalities that will be on the list. And I just thank Ms. Hickman for bringing out the fact that the SPLOST 1 cent penny. It's paid by all of the folks who visit here and all the folks who come here. And so it helps us to sponsor those road projects, those recreation projects, those drainage projects, those economic development projects, and those civil projects for what we talked about, those capital improvement projects that we do. And so that's what the SPLOST will be used for, and it will be used, you will get an opportunity to see the complete list as all municipalities now have turned in their desired list to the manager. And so we are compiling those and putting those into the right category as to whether they are tier 1 projects, tier 2 projects, or tier 3 projects. We have sat down with the managers and the mayors to come up with the information we will need that when we have the public meeting. We hope to invite all of the mayor and managers to be here in the room with us, okay, as we do it both virtually and we do it in person. So those dates right now, I can't give you the date, but I will let you know that it will be coming up soon for us to give you the information that you are seeking, and you will have the knowledge of what is included and those things that we can do. Now, let me say this, and I said this to all of the district town hall meetings that we did on SPLOST. If I had a rich uncle who could give me all the money, I'd ask him for $4 trillion or $5 trillion, which would take care of the majority of what's going on in this county. But we know we can't generate that much monies, but we will take the monies we have and do the projects that are most needed. Those that are tier 1 projects are projects that will benefit every municipality in the county. And then we will go to the tier 2 projects, which some will be multi-jurisdictional municipalities as well as the county. And then the tier 3 projects will be those that are in specific neighborhoods. All right, let us go ahead. Do we have another raised hand? All right, let us announce. Let's go.
Rossi Norris, you are next.
All right, Norris, if you will unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. The floor is yours.
Yes, good evening and thank you. My issue is affordable housing in the county, in Chatham County. I heard you speak earlier about an affordable housing project that was underway or would be underway. I have two questions. One, do you have a timeline for that? Is my first question. When might that project get underway? And secondly, I'm wondering, how do you determine priorities? What would be a tier 1? I would hope affordable housing would be tier 1, but I have no idea how that's determined. I wonder if you could speak to that.
All right. Tier 1 projects are those projects which cross jurisdictions. It may be a project in which it benefits the whole county, and that means that it runs multi-jurisdictional as far as municipalities are concerned. But now you know there's only one county, and so with that one county, it's still in the county. So tier 1 projects are projects that are agreed upon the mayors, the managers, and the county chairman and manager. All right, that's those tier 1 projects, but there will be a project that's probably, and I'll give you a good example of one, Quaco Road, which runs out of unincorporated Chatham into Pooler. It runs out of Pooler into Port Wentworth. It runs out of unincorporated Chatham into Savannah first, and then Port Wentworth, and then Garden City, and then finally back into Port Wentworth again. So that would be considered a tier 1 project because Quaco Road becomes Pooler Parkway. Pooler Parkway becomes Airway Avenue. Airway Avenue becomes Gulfstream Road. Gulfstream Road becomes Crossgate Road. So it runs from one end of the county to the other. That's an example of one of our tier 1 projects. Another example of a road project that's our tier 1 project will be Little Neck Road, which runs into Bloomingdale Road, and from Bloomingdale Road it goes to Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, and from Jimmy DeLoach Parkway it goes into the port and down at Savannah River. So projects of those will be our tier 1 projects, okay? Affordable housing when you say affordable, the question becomes affordable to who? According to the experts and those who are in the real estate business, affordable housing start at $60,000 a year. Well, our police department, our fire department, our first responders do not begin at $60,000 a year. It takes them 10 to 15 years to get there. And so what we're trying to do is to put together a program in which we use private funding and the tax abatement that we can get from the federal and the state to put housing in place so that our first responders, and when I say first responders, I'm talking about them all, and our teachers as well, so that we could put them in houses that they can afford to live in. That's why I use the term obtainable, because it's attainable based upon their income. And so we have entered into negotiations with some private landowners to obtain land, and we've gone to the state, and I can say, for instance, with the project we have in Port Wentworth, the state gave us $1.7 million so that we can put in the infrastructure. The infrastructure meaning the water and sewer and the roadway, so that when those 85 homes come into bear, partnering with Habitat for Humanities. And so we are looking to partner with the business community as well as the others that you speak about. And so we are looking for developing those houses, and we can use SPLOST funds to obtain the properties and things, because those are capital projects that we can use funds for, all right? So now you have a second question? Ms. Norris?
Yes, I think it was a follow-up, really. When I think about obtainable and affordable, I'm thinking about people in projects like Yamacraw Village. I know that is a project now that is on the demolition board, I think, at some point, or demolition track. And I'm thinking about people who are low income or people with no income.
Well, that's what I mean by when I say obtainable, all right, because it's income-based, and that's why we try to get those incentives for developers. And for now, I cannot give you any information about what's going on with the property at Yamacraw. I don't have any of that information yet. And when the
Okay.
housing authority gives that to us, then we will be privileged to it. But as to what they plan on doing, I would think that if you would look at what they have done with sustainable Fairwood homes, all right, is one of the ways that you can say that project is going to go. But as to what stage it's in and what they will be doing with it, we don't have that information yet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Keyshawn Housey, you are up.
Thank you. Commissioners, thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to have this meeting virtually. I've sent the link to some of my contemporaries, and I hope that they take advantage. Nonetheless, and of course, I say this having attended the one in my district a number of days ago. I'm thinking about the development we've seen from the Hyundai plant and other international entities want to do business with us. For reference, I serve on the Greater Savannah International Alliance as a city board focusing on international development, cultural development. And because I know that this SPLOST is focused on capital projects and that type of stuff, has there been any conversation, any inkling of idea for what SPLOST could be utilized for in regards to bolstering Chatham County's prospects in attracting international business, as well as, ensuring that the people who reside in Chatham County, making sure that the people, we are also able to benefit from our international allies culturally, also development, business development wise and the like. Thank you.
Yes, and let me say now, we are partnering with CETA, which is Savannah Economic Development Authorities. We're also partnering with the Savannah Trade Center, who does international negotiations for global companies coming to this area, as well as we are in partnership with the State Development Authority and Commissioner Pat Wilson, as well as Commissioner Nunn, who is DCA, Department of Community Affairs. We have a partner with all of them so that we are working along within the international as well as the national venue, all right, to create those businesses. In fact, we had a conversation just last week, toward the end of last week, either it was last Thursday or Friday, with a company that's coming or looking to come and to establish in Chatham County. And when it comes, it will bring at least 3,000 jobs that are on the higher end of the pay scale. And so it is our hopes and it's our dreams to partner with our local universities, our local secondary colleges, as well as our local school system, so that we can train the kids and train the people in this area so that we are equipped to handle the payload that these jobs are going to create here. So we are working on those levels. It's just that you may not hear a whole lot of noise or fanfare, and that's because we try to wait until the ink is dry on the contract, and those companies are definitely coming in this area. And so that's why we're working on our road projects and our drainage projects so that we can accommodate those things. But thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing that in. Next.
Claire Marich. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
That was perfect, actually. I'm Claire Marich, and I'd just like to follow up on Ms. Rossi Norris's point about our housing crisis. It was in the paper last week that the Chamber is considering our housing crisis an economic development issue. So really, all of these things are working together. If people cannot live here affordably, they will choose not to work here either. It is with 30,000 households, or 21,000, excuse me, we're 30,000 households in a deficit here in our county. And we know this is a regional problem. It's not just a city or a county problem. But I just really want to implore you to make a serious investment. We've got 21,000 households that are that are housing burdened, paying more than 30% of their incomes to housing costs. So I think this is something that, as a healthy, thriving county, we need to address before we start to feel even more serious consequences from the shortage of affordable housing here. And I thank you again for opening this up in a virtual forum, because it allows access for so many people who could not attend the in-person meetings. Thank you so much for your accountability here.
All right, thank you so much for being with us. And let me say to you, everything that we get into is serious with us. As we sat down to talk about with all the municipalities about how we are going to put into the housing market, we understand that we are starting from behind the eight ball. None of us foresaw 10 years ago or 12 years ago that the economic boom that Chatham County has experienced would come at so hard and so fast. And so we're working to catch up in that, and housing is one of those areas, as you say, it will not just be a Chatham County project, but it is a project for all. And so that's why we are members of the Coastal Regional County Commission, and that's 10 counties that have come together from the borders of Florida, which is Camden County, to the borders of South Carolina, which is Chatham County. And those 10 counties have come together to work on housing and road projects as well as drainage projects together. You heard the governor announce that he put in $500 million that will work toward the water crisis that Savannah and Effingham County will experience. And so that's how the county is working together. But those same kind of energy and those same kinds of conversations are being had as far as housing is concerned. We realize that we are behind, all right? We realize that in order to take care of the poverty situation which exists here in Chatham County, which is somewhere around 22%, we must, first of all, get them educated, get folks educated, and then second of all, we must get them jobs that are income-based so that they can afford to move up from where they are and to move into making our neighborhoods better and safer. And so we are working on that end. And to that end, let me say to you, it's just as serious as everything else that we have, all right? Thank you for your comments. Next.
We do not have any hands raised at the
Okay.
moment. If you have a question, anyone, please use that feature. Thank you.
And let me say now, let me look back to Commissioner Whiteley or Commissioner Milton. If you find something that you want to say on the conversation that we've had so far, now would be your time. Just raise your hand so we can cut you in. All right. If you want to make any statements, just unmute yourself and go for it.
All right. Well, can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
You got you.
So I just want to first just recognize the concerted effort by our friends at Just to bring this point home. I know that we have heard this a lot in our emails as it relates to affordable housing, and hence why the chairman has shared some of the projects that we are doing now as it relates to affordable housing. I also, when I don't serve as a commissioner, I serve in the childcare industry, and I want you to know that the county, as well as the business community, are also working to address some of the childcare needs that are directly associated with housing as well as workforce. So we are looking at this holistically, and I want people to know that, because it is easy to assume that we are just only here to build buildings and build roads, which is definitely a big part of our responsibility in managing our tax dollars. But we do pay attention to the social safety net and the importance of our community's social safety net. And you can see that evidenced by our blueprint funding, as well as, again, the investments that we have made and will continue to make in support of affordable housing initiatives, childcare initiatives. You'll see some of that with Greenbrier, and so on and so forth. So I want to just, again, tip the hat to our friends at Just who are chiming in as it relates to affordable housing. I know this was brought up, attainable housing, that this was brought up at my community's meeting and is definitely a serious need. And as we continue to grow, this ties directly in with our homelessness challenge as well. So I appreciate folks, looking at some of the real issues that we have to face and not just the sensationalized issues that you see in the newspapers.
Thank you. Commissioner Milton, any comments? Okay, until she unmutes herself.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to highlight also the fact that, yeah, a lot of that conversation was held at my district meeting as well. But I do want to, is the survey still available for people to continue to take the survey?
Yes, it is available. In fact, if they could also go to our county website, all right, and they will find that the QR code is still there. All right, so
Okay.
it will be available until we get to the point. Now, just on your screen now, for those who are listening, you should see the QR code that tells you about taking the survey. And I can say today, I think there are over 800 folks who have been a part of the survey. All right, okay. All right. And so
But
we are looking forward to more people taking the survey and giving us your suggestions or giving us what is going on in your neighborhood, because as I said to all 8 districts as I met with them, you live there every day, and I may visit once, twice, 3 times, but when you know what all of the ins and outs of things that you want to work on, all right? But I can honestly say to you now, road improvements and drainage and recreation have been a part of all comments that have come forward to us from the different areas in which we are in there. So if you have any questions about anything that's in your neighborhood, or you want to give us, as I said, give us your name and the location so that we could look into when we come up to make the final list of what we will present to the public. We will take the SPLOST dollars that we have, and it's important that we keep this SPLOST penny in play. Let me just say that without SPLOST, there are a lot of projects that we could not do. Within the next 30 to 45 days, you will see the new EOA Center, which is like the Emergency Operations Center, will go into play when we start to build it, all right? And that will house our emergency service during crisis. And that crisis don't necessarily have to be a hurricane or a tornado, but you remember some time ago that there was a plane crash on 21. And so that would be that center that's kicking into action, all right, along with the mobile units that will go there. And so those are things that the SPLOST dollars will come up with. There are some projects that we will be doing in the next 2 or 3 months. We will definitely make sure that you see the sign that says this is a SPLOST funded project. And we will be doing some in some of the neighborhoods. And let me say now, we have taken some of the dollars and putting them in some of our neglected neighborhoods as well. And so those things you will see. And Commissioner Whiteley mentioned that we are working with Greenbrier as well as the May Street YMCA and other projects that we will have going on. And so we just ask now that you please, ma'am, please, sir, rather than sit around the table and complain about it, give it to us so that we can see how we can work upon it and come up with a game plan, because we have to plan our work and then we have to work our plan. And in order to get that done, we need everyone's input. Don't think that your concerns will go unheard, because we do definitely hear them and we will speak to them. Commissioner Milton, you want to still add some more? Is she on now?
no, sir, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, all righty. Is there anyone else? All right, and let me say now, I want to thank, we were up to the 20 participants that have signed on with us tonight, and it's up to us. I mean, all of us, not just some of us, but it's up to all of us to make sure that we talk to our neighbors, all right, talk to our family members, talk to our friends, talk to our church members, talk to our sororities, our fraternities, our social clubs, all right, about the need for this capital improvement projects that we use SPLOST dollars for. Now, let me also say, because I was asked this question earlier today, we cannot use SPLOST funds to give to nonprofits for their use in certain things that they want to do, especially if it calls for your operation. These pennies, these SPLOST pennies and these SPLOST dollars have to be used for capital projects, all right? And they're mainly for projects that affect the whole community. There are ways in which we can do what they call an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding, so that the county is working with all the municipalities, or an IGA, intergovernmental agreement, that we are we working on, and there will be in the next few weeks or so, you will hear about some things that we are doing with the MOU and IGA as far as municipalities are concerned. One of the things I'm glad that we did was we opened it up for everyone every municipality to bring in and to sit at the table and make the plans for this SPLOST. All right, it just wasn't the city of Savannah and the county, but it was every municipality. And so we're going to compile those lists and then see how the dollars that we anticipate that we will raise throughout this SPLOST period will benefit all of Chatham County. We may have 8 municipalities, but we only have 1 county, and so that's why I say 1 Chatham, because working on a project in Thunderbolt is just like working on a project in Poole or Bloomingdale. Working on a project at Tybee is just like working on a project at the city of Savannah. And so we will work closely with all our municipalities as well as our federal partners and our stakeholders. We've gotten some good news from the federal government in the last week and a half, and so knowing that those kinds of things are still available, all right. We don't have a concrete answer to some of the things that are going on because honestly, we don't know who to talk with because things change day to day, but we are doing a whole lot of conversations with our state partners, especially GDOT, all right, as we do road improvements, as we do drainage improvements, and then we are talking to each other, county and municipalities, about recreation projects that we can do together, all right, to get things done, because it is imperative that we all work from the same playbook so that we know what each other's doing and we won't be countermanding one project going on in one particular area as to countermanding something that's going on into another area. Now, I know I scheduled this to go from 6 o'clock until 7. Right now it's 6:42. All right, if there are no other questions or there are no other comments, all right, if you do have one, please use the raise hand feature on your, all right, and I see a hand just came up, so let's call them in, let them dial in. Norris?
Ms. Rossi, you're back.
Yes, yes, I just had a final question.
Sure.
When will the final decisions be made about which projects will be funded and how will the public know?
All right, I can't give you that exact date right now, and the reason I can't give you that exact date is because me, for one, all right, I'm gonna be out of the city the majority of next week. I'll be in DC, and we have to work with the time frame that our mayor manages. But they're working on a timetable right now. As we have gathered all the lists in, we're working on a timetable, and when we get that timetable and get that set, is your mic live? Is your mic live?
Yes.
All right, let me. I'm gonna have the county manager come in because the managers have been putting together a time frame for us. All right.
Yes,
Okay, great.
the board's scheduled to approve the intergovernmental agreements with the municipalities and call for the election on July 18th. So everything should be final on July 18th.
So
Okay,
before
July
July 18th, we will have a town hall meeting that will incorporate everyone. As I said, we will ask all the mayors to be here, all right, and all of the managers to be here, and we will do it both in person and virtual. And that's when the managers and the staff have come together and narrowed down the list as to what we will be doing in those projects that are tier 1 project. So in order to meet the July date, that means that sometimes this month, all right, we will be having that meeting where we will give you give the public a copy of the list that has been approved by the mayors and managers. All right.
Mr. Keyshawn, you were back on.
Thank you.
And thank you. Just out of curiosity, we're talking about this and we've had the sessions throughout the county. Out of curiosity, what do the young people on the youth commission have they been involved, or consulted regarding this process at all?
Yes, we have invited them to be part of this, not only just the youth commissioners, but we have asked students from our high schools and things to weigh in and to go and to meet us at the town hall meetings that we've had, as well as go in and do the survey and submit things. So we have involved on every level. We have involved everyone in the decision-making as to and I tell you now, that's why you heard me say that a lot of the projects are talking about recreation projects, okay? Because that's one of the things that our youth brought into a more recreation that they can have, especially during the summer, okay? And so that sparked, we have a meeting coming up of 3 of the governmental entities in which we're going to talk about some things to do. If we can do it right away, an agreement right away, then we'll get those programs out during the summer, because it just wasn't about the SPLOST, but it was about recreation opportunities for them in live time, all right? And so they have been a part, to answer your question, they have been a part, and they've been asked to please. And so if you know a group of youth, or if you're working with a group of youth, have them go and do the survey, okay, and put their thoughts in the survey. And so, because we read them on a daily basis as to what comes in, and then we extract those things that need to be, so that we could have conversations about how we're going to get those done. So, and even invite your church members to do the same, all right, to get the survey done and to have input. This is their time for them to voice their concerns and to voice what projects that they would love to see. All right, I'm not guaranteeing anybody that we're gonna do every project that you say now, because, like I said, I have to have an uncle who's willing to give me about $4 or $5 trillion to get all that done. But we will take what we have and do the very best we have based upon the feedback that we get from the survey and from the municipalities, as well as the business community, who is also a part of this. All right, no more questions? All right, well, listen, let me thank everyone. Let me thank the staff. Let me thank Commissioner Whiteley, Commissioner Milton, for tuning in today, all right? And let me thank the manager and his staff for being here. We have been writing down the things that you say, the projects that you name, but there's still an opportunity now for you to go on the website and put the QR code in and put the survey in. So as we gather this information to get us ready for the final draft, we will do a draft, and then we will talk to all of the heads that you have elected to represent you, and from that we will come up with a final list that we will present, and then in July we will get the IGA and the MOU signed, so that we will know going forward what this will be. We will also have the business community as a part of that, as the elected officials cannot advertise for SPLOST. So therefore, we partner with the business community so that they can get the word out. So we hope to see some billboards and other commercials running that tells you about the SPLOST list, all right, so that everybody will be totally informed as to where we're going and how we're doing, so that you can hold your elected officials accountable, all right, to the things that have been agreed upon, and make sure. But let me say to you also now, to all of our listeners, if you live in a municipality, make sure you get in touch with your mayor and manager of your municipality, as well as the elected folks in your municipality, to make sure that they know what your concerns and what your list looks like, so that they could incorporate in their list. Because there will be, even though they have turned in their preliminary list to us, there will be an opportunity for them to make adjustments on that list. But we're trying to get all that done before we come to the final decision of doing the IGAs and the MOUs in July. So again, let me thank you all for being here, and let me thank you for tuning in, and continue now, just don't stop. Continue, send an email or do the QR code and do the survey. The survey is better than sending an email because I get up to 190 plus emails a day. And sometimes it takes me a while to go through all of those, but the QR code will get you into the survey and get it there faster. Again, let me thank all of you for being here, and thank you, and have a good night and be blessed. God bless you now. Good night.